Hello everyone and welcome to MyniQ podcast. I'm your host and I'll be sharing short English stories and conversations with you every day. Today's episode is Beneath the Glass Ceiling. And the text level is 5. Learn about tricky action words and sayings and how to talk about things when you know which thing you mean or how much of something. Stick around till the end for 5 quick questions to test your understanding. Alright then, let's get listening.
Beneath the glass ceiling. The city was ablaze with excitement as the news broke the Glass-Steagall Act of 1932 had been signed into law. President Herbert Hoover's pen had sealed the fate of commercial and investment banking, separating them like oil and water. But little did anyone know that this act would have far-reaching consequences, plunging the world into a web of intrigue and deceit. I stood at the edge of the bustling streets, my eyes fixed on the imposing structure of the Federal Reserve. It was here, in these very walls, that the true power brokers held court. They whispered secrets to each other, their fingers tracing the outlines of the city's future. And I knew, with a shiver running down my spine, that I had stumbled into something much bigger than myself. As I delved deeper, the shadows grew darker and the air thickened with anticipation. It was as if the very fabric of society was being manipulated, like a master puppeteer controlling his strings. And I, mere mortal that I was, felt like a tiny pawn in their game.
Now, let's move on to the conversation between Billy, Meg, Kelly, and their teacher, Louis, after reading the novel.
I loved how the novel was set in a different time period. It really immersed me in the story.
Yes, the author did an excellent job of transporting you to the past, but I think they could have done more with the plot itself.
I agree with Louis. The plot was kind of predictable and didn't blow my mind like I expected it to, but I still enjoyed it.
I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see more of the actual events leading up to the Glass-Steagall Act being signed into law.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about why they focused so much on the Federal Reserve and not as much on the people affected by the act. It felt like we were missing out on some important context.
Well, I think that's where the author intended for us to fill in the gaps with our own research and understanding of the subject matter. It's not just about reading a novel, it's about engaging with the material itself.
That makes sense, but I still wish they'd provided more background information on the time period and how it affected people like us today.
Yeah, I see what Lou means. Maybe next time we can read a book that's not so focused on the actual events themselves, but rather on the characters and their experiences.
Now, let's test your understanding of the novel and the dialogue with 5 questions. Question 1. What event triggered the excitement in the city? A. The signing of the Glass-Steagall Act. B. The election of President Herbert Hoover. C. The Great Depression. D. The rise of commercial and investment banking. E. The creation of the Federal Reserve. The answer is A. The signing of the Glass-Steagall Act. Question 2. What was the name of the building where the true power brokers held court? A. The White House. B. The Federal Reserve. C. The Glass-Steagall Act building. D. The Commercial and Investment Bank headquarters. E. The City Hall. The answer is B. The Federal Reserve. Question 3. How did Leah feel about the plot of the novel? A. It was very engaging and interesting. B. It was kind of predictable. C. I loved how it was set in a different time period. D. It felt like we were missing out on some important context. E. The author could have done more with the characters. The answer is B. It was kind of predictable. Question 4. What did Carrie wish for in his next read? A. More background information on the time period and how it affected people today. B. A novel that's not so focused on the actual events themselves, but rather on the characters and their experiences. C. A book that's set in a different genre. D. A story with more unexpected twists and turns. E. A character-driven novel. The answer is A. More background information on the time period and how it affected people today. Question 5. Who made the comment, "It's not just about reading a novel, it's about engaging with the material itself"? I. Mac. B. Leah. C. Billy. D. Carrie. E. The author. The answer is B. Leah. That's it for today's quiz. How many did you answer correctly? Thanks for tuning in to my channel today. I hope you enjoyed the stories and conversations and found the quiz challenging yet fun. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us for more daily English learning content. Until next time, keep practicing your English and have a wonderful day.